It's August 1st, and that means the 2024 comprehensive team rankings have been finalized. I'm National Rankings Director Adam Friedman and Transfer Portal Analyst. I'm here with Parker Thune of OUinsider.com to talk about Oklahoma's number 7 class in the comprehensive team rankings, which includes elements of the high school team recruiting rankings and the transfer team rankings. It counts the 25 highest rated players, whether they are high school prospects or transfer prospects. You can find the full breakdown on rivals.com. Now, Parker, like I said, Oklahoma's class in the comprehensive rankings finished number 7, which is also where they finished in the high school rankings for the 2024 class. And they also finished number 23 in the transfer portal team rankings with 6 top 100 players. A really impressive group. Deion Burks, the wide receiver, Caden Woolard, defensive lineman, Sam Franklin, a running back, and then another defensive lineman, Dominic Williams, Hatchett, and Branson Hickman on the offensive line round out those 6 top 100 players. Of those guys, which one has come in and really wowed the coaching staff so far?
Yeah, it's been amongst the transfer guys, it's been Deion Burks. And I think every single one of the guys you mentioned is going to play a significant role for the Sooners this fall. Branson Hickman was an awesome late addition. They needed a center after Troy Everett's injury, which is going to keep him out at least through September, potentially into October. So that was a big need for them at the end of the portal cycle in the spring, and they were able to fill it with the addition of Hickman. But Deion Burks has just blown folks away ever since he got to Norman. From the second they got on the field for spring practice, the word was, yeah, this dude's cut a little bit different. And the full expectation is that he's going to instantly slot into the starting lineup for Oklahoma and team up with Nick Anderson and Andrell Anthony to form what should be one of the most dynamic receiver trios in the country for Oklahoma.
Well, the Sooners look like they are just going to have one of the best offenses in the country. Jackson Arnold now full go at quarterback, right? But on the defensive side of the ball, they've got some really good defensive linemen coming in, right? We touched on them, Woolard and Dominic Williams, which was a really hard fought recruitment for there, and out of the transfer portal, kind of holding LSU off to make sure they land him. What have those two guys been able to show so far?
Yeah, so it's tough to draw any conclusions with Dominic Williams yet, because obviously I don't think he committed till the very end of April, maybe even early May. So today, or I should say yesterday, July 31st, was when the Sooners started their fall practices. And that's the first opportunity that Dominic Williams has got to put the pads on. And I don't even think they put the pads on, but to put the jersey on and actually participate on the field for the Sooners. But Caden Woolard was really, really good in the spring. He's a big dude, 6'5", in the neighborhood of 260 pounds. You look at what he did at Miami of Ohio. He was highly productive, 9.5 sacks last year, first team all MAC. So the expectation is that he was going to come in and immediately give them rotational snaps and potentially start. They've got a very talented defensive end room, but Caden Woolard is as experienced and as talented as any one of them. So would expect to see him on the field quite a bit for the Sooners this fall. And then obviously Dominic Williams, you plug and play him at defensive tackle. There's no question about that.
Yeah, he was dominant last year, right? One last thing about the transfer class here. I think it was 5 offensive line transfers led by Garen Hatchett and Branson Hickman. Obvious area of need for the Sooners after, a transfer class, a transfer out group that maybe was a little bit bigger than Sooners fans would have liked. What has this group been able to do so far now that they're already on campus?
Yeah, so they got to replace all 5 starters from last year. Obviously, they were hoping to have one holdover in Caden Green, but he hit the portal and went to Missouri. So at that point, you're starting from scratch. As I mentioned, the expectation with Branson Hickman is that he's going to be a rock-solid anchor at the center position for this Oklahoma program. Fabechi Wiwu, the transfer from North Texas, a guy that they see as a locked and loaded surefire starter at guard. Garen Hatchett is probably your other guard. And then Spencer Brown's going to be in a battle to start at right tackle with Jake Taylor, who's a redshirt sophomore coming into this season. Then redshirt sophomore Jacob Sexton is probably going to be the other starter at left tackle. So all in all, it's not a situation where every single one of those transfers immediately slots into the lineup for Oklahoma. But they did bring in a sizable haul for a reason. They needed experience. They needed guys who could play at this level immediately. And on the whole, that's what they were able to get.
Sounds good. Well, again, that transfer class for Oklahoma, number 23 in the transfer portal team rankings, 16 overall transfer signees, an average star rating of 3.19. That's 6 4 stars and 7 3 stars. Quickly on the high school class for Oklahoma, a really impressive group, number 7 in the high school team rankings for the 2024 class, led by 5-star David Stone, a guy who we absolutely loved coming out of high school. He's an Oklahoma native, went to IMG Academy, and was just dominant throughout his high school career. Followed after him, Taylor Tatum at running back and Eddie Pierre-Louis round out the top 3 Oklahoma signees. Tatum and Pierre-Louis didn't get there until the summer, so early returns on them we're still finding out things about them. But the defensive line group with Stone and then high school teammate Jaden Jackson at IMG Academy, the two of them kind of teaming up again at the college level. There has to be a lot of praise for them so far, right?
And no doubt there certainly is. Jaden Jackson might even have outperformed David Stone throughout spring practices, which is saying something because I don't think anybody questions the caliber of player David Stone is and or will be down the line. But I fully expect, Adam, that this is going to end up being the most impactful high school class that Brent Venables has brought in through his 3 cycles as head coach at Oklahoma. And that's because you look at the top end, and sure, there are guys like David Stone and Taylor Tatum and Eddie Pierre-Louis that you don't really question are going to be good college players. But I think they definitely hit on some evals down in that low 4-star, high 3-star range and found some really, really undervalued football players. Guys like Michael Boganowski, the safety from Junction City, Kansas. He's been phenomenal. Jeremiah Newcomb, cornerback from Arizona, obviously really strong football bloodline. His dad, Bobby, played in the NFL and won a national championship in Nebraska. Zion Reagans, the word is, and he just got here in June, but the word is nobody can run with that kid. So I think it's that middle tier of the class that's really going to help this 2024 group set themselves apart from their predecessors in the Venables era at Oklahoma when it's all said and done.
Well, you mentioned 2 guys I wanted to actually bring up, 2 defensive backs there, Newcomb and Boganowski, part of a 7 defensive back signee class there for Oklahoma. A clear need again for the Sooners. This group, they've got to be hoping they can get on the field pretty quickly. The coaching staff, right? I mean, these guys are coming in to not only provide depth but to fill holes almost immediately. Is it looking like Newcomb and Boganowski are kind of setting the pace for that group, or is there anybody else making an impression?
Yeah, those two, in addition to Eli Bowen, who another one of those guys where I don't think he quite got his due because of who his older brother is, and that would be former 5-star safety Peyton Bowen. Eli kind of gets put in a box, if you will, because he's the little brother. He might be every bit as good as Peyton is, and he's showed that so far. And then the other guy from that group that has really made a strong impression early is Reggie Powers out of Centerville, Ohio. Now, to my recollection, all 7 of the defensive backs that Oklahoma signed in the 2024 class were blue chippers. So, yes, expectations are high for this group. There are some guys in that group, namely Boganowski, Powers, Newcomb, and Bowen, I think that you can expect to see on the field in some capacity for Oklahoma in 2024. But long-term, you throw in the other 3, Devon Jordan at cornerback, Jaden Hardy at safety. He spent time at IMG. And then a local product, 4-star safety, Michael Patterson McDonald from Moore, Oklahoma. The belief is all 7 of those guys are going to contribute meaningfully, and it may not be long before they come along developmentally and get to that point.
Sounds good. All right. Well, to wrap things up here, Oklahoma, number 7 class in the 2024 comprehensive team rankings, number 7 high school class in the 2024 class, and number 23 class in the transfer portal team rankings. Parker, thanks so much for breaking down Oklahoma's comprehensive team rankings with me. Please make sure to give Parker a follow and check out all of his content on ouinsider.com. I'm rankings director and transfer portal analyst Adam Friedman. Please remember to subscribe to the Rivals.com YouTube channel and follow all of the Rivals social media accounts. And of course, you can find all of our content on Rivals.com.